Good morning. Super Bowl Sunday here in Texas, and we're going to cook a brisket. First thing we need to do is we need to get us a good brisket. So we're going to start with the CAB Prime IBP brisket. So what I like to do is I like to lay the brisket out. I always start out with a little bit of olive oil just to get the rub to stick on the brisket. So I'm going to cover it all with olive oil. That's always the first thing. I'm not going to trim this brisket because I just don't want to, but you can. That's solely up to you. Alright, so we're going to rub the brisket with olive oil. First step. Pop the hands off. We're going to start out with coarse grind black pepper and kosher salt, mixed 50-50. And I'm going to go ahead and cover the whole brisket with this, just as good as I can get it. Do it down the sides, all the way around. And I want this just as good as I can get it. Turn it up on the back side here. Get this next. Get in all those folds. Tell you what, I am going to trim this piece off just because it doesn't render out anything worth having. No need to have that. Cover this up here. Okay, once I get all that covered, I'm going to take our Risky Rub. I'm just going to add color with it. I'm not going to overdo it. I'm just going to add a little color with it. And this is the bottom side, so we're going to flip it over and put the finishing on here. I'll add a little bit more of this just because, really, salt and pepper, you can't go wrong. Okay. All right, now we're going to add a little color with our Risky Rub, which is special Texas seasonings. All right, just for sakes, a little bit more. All right, we got our pit ready. So let's put it on the pit. Okay, got our pit going. We got a fire built in there. Let it go for about an hour. It's holding at about 250. You can see there on the thermometer. So we're good. This is kind of just a little something different than what you saw at the store. It's not a rotisserie. This is just a regular smoker, indirect. Anyway, something a little different. But we're gonna put this brisket on. I'm gonna put it on this rack right here because I've got my temperature probe right here, so I can tell what this rack's doing. And when I set this brisket on here, I'm going to set the fattest part of the brisket towards the fire. So I'm just going to set that bad boy right there. I'm going to slide that out, back in. And we're gonna let it go. We're gonna let it go for about an hour. Come back, take a look at it. I'm gonna let it cook for about 2 to 3 hours, maybe 4 hours, and then I'm gonna check for color and see where we're at. So I'll get back with you shortly, thanks. All right, we're about 2 hours, about an hour and a half, 2 hours into the cook. So we're gonna take a look and see what our brisket looks like. Come around over here. We're sitting at 250. You can see it's starting to take on some color. That's the smoke that's making that color. So we're gonna keep going on that. If you notice in the back, I got a water pan. That water pan adds moisture into this pit. It's just a little trick that helps a lot. It's keeping it moist. So we're gonna shut her back up. Come back in a couple hours. All right, we're about 3 hours in. We're gonna check the brisket. Oh yeah, we're really starting to get some good coloring in there. Getting that brown, starting to really render down good. I think we're gonna go a couple, maybe another hour or so, and then maybe wrap it in some butcher paper. But we'll check back in an hour. Okay, we're about 5.5 hours into the cook. We've been keeping it steady between 250, 300 degrees. Haven't done anything since we put it on. Now what we're gonna do is, if you look at the brisket, and you can look at the color of the brisket, see that's a good golden brown. I'm gonna wrap it, because when I put the wrap on, it'll still cook, but it won't add any more smoke. The more, if you keep adding smoke and smoke, it's just gonna get darker and darker and darker. But I like my briskets, when I'm doing it like this, a little bit light. So I'm gonna pull that brisket, I'm gonna wrap it in butcher paper, which this is actually freezer paper, which has wax on one side and not on the other. Make sure you put the meat on the non-wax side. If you do it on the wax side, the wax will get on the brisket and you'll have wax on your brisket. So here we go. You can get a good view of it there. It's a filling of it. Still a little hard there. It's getting soft there. I say it's got another hour and a half. So we're going to wrap it like so and kind of get that. Okay, so we got it all wrapped up. Let's stick it back on, back in. We're gonna let her go about an hour and we'll check it. What I like to do, I like to get it to about 200. So that's 206. Right in there is 202. This bad boy's done. So we're in it, we started at 9:30 and it's 5:15. We're done. We're gonna pull it and let it rest for about 30-40 minutes, and then I'll show you what it looks like after that. Okay, so we let it rest till about 170, 175. Now we're gonna cut into it and see what we got. Oh boy. Oh yeah. Knife's not the sharpest, but you can see the smoke ring. Let's see what we got here. Money.